Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Real with Jordan and Demi. I'm Jordan Edwards in LA. In New York, we got Demi Ramos. What's up, Demi?
What's up, Jordan? We have Echosmith today.
We do have Echosmith today. We have most of Echosmith today.
2/3. You got it.
We got Sydney and Noah. What's going on, guys?
Oh, not much. We're just excited to be here. We love podcasts. Like, I love listening to podcasts. So I'm really excited because we can take our time a little bit more, get to know each other.
Yeah.
I just love it. So I'm excited to be here.
Interesting little trivia question is that Echosmith was the second to last in-person interview before quarantine 2 years ago for Popdust.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
You guys were the second to last interview because you guys were doing press for your big comeback album. And here's the trivia question is the last interview was, due to the drum roll, Rebecca Black. You guys were right before Rebecca Black.
No way.
Yeah,
oh,
you guys
that's
remember
awesome.
the song, that Friday song?
Yes.
Yeah.
Apparently
she's other cool stuff.
Invented herself into like a cooler version of her.
Yeah, I think she makes
Black.
crack pop now, Jordan.
Yeah.
No, like someone told me that yesterday. I was like, it's like that's the thing.
Ooh.
Yeah. I've listened to her stuff. It's cool.
You guys have a new single out, and oh my goodness gracious. So Hang Around. Did I get the title right? It's Hang Around, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I want to talk about the sound of this song first. It has kind of a retro, I feel like it has kind of a 90s, early 90s kind of jangle pop sound to it, but it also has these kind of cool 70s guitar sounds to it. So tell us about the sound of this song. Yeah.
So this song kind of started with the sound of it. Sydney was driving up to LA to, work on music with me. And I was in my studio and I started kind of crafting what now is the verse and the pre-chorus. And for me, I'm like, we've been talking a lot about kind of almost reverting back to like very organic and natural sounds, but then finding ways to like manipulate, distort, and like affect things in a way that kind of make it feel contemporary or modern or, I don't know, cutting edge or whatever. But I feel like, those references are killer. I love the Sundays and like in the 70s. I love Mac. I love all that stuff.
Well, like the thought I had when I was listening to this song was it feels like it could be on the Empire Records soundtrack.
Yeah,
like,
come on.
Is kind of the vibe.
I like that. Yeah, I think for us, like those eras, I think capture a lot of music that we really care about, and a lot of like sides of music that we really care about. I honestly was listening a lot to like even like Joni Mitchell and stuff, and like the way that like fretless bass and things like that are used in her records. And we like threw that into Hang Around. So there is definitely some of that, like those different eras translating into, Hang Around is like kind of more modern contemporary track for sure.
And I feel like we're living in an era where anything could be big, like any sound from any decade could be big.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Have you seen how big Kate Bush is now? And she was already obviously a legend in her own right.
I didn't check your Instagram for. Did you guys do a Running Up That Hill cover like everyone else did?
We actually didn't. I kind of wanted to, but it was becoming one of those things where I'm like, literally everyone's already done it. That like, I don't know if any of us could handle another cover, but I do love that song. And Noah was the one who, he's been telling me like, you have to really listen to Kate Bush. Like he's been telling me that for years. Like
5 years now I've been on that.
Yeah, like 2017, I think is when he was telling me about that. And anyway, so you were ahead of the curve, but not to say we never would cover it, but sometimes something's been done enough times by outsiders,
I feel like you had to do it immediately was the way to do it. The only way to like pull it off is like, yeah.
We love it.
All the way back to like you guys being little kids, right? I can just imagine. The creative, like, the creativity, you guys were, all doing music. How did that form, you guys growing up together and starting to do music together? How'd that even happen?
Yeah, we just were already in a very musical house where, it was normal.
Oh, I can do a solo view, Sydney. If I do this, you're still here.
Oh.
So it's like, Okay, keep going.
Okay. Yeah. So we were in a very musical house already. And we just were already picking up instruments. Noah, I always joke with him because I'm like, people don't always choose bass first. They're usually like, oh, I guess I'll like also play bass, So it's not super common to just be like, bass is my thing. And that's exactly what Noah did. And he, you know, I don't know how old he was when he decided that. But we all just kind of picked up different instruments, and, you know, we were all just kind of singing, and, you know, our whole family was just really into music. And then when I was 9, Graham was 7, Noah was 10, you know, blah, blah, blah. We were all really young, and someone reached out to our dad, who is also very musical, and he was in charge of all the music at churches for a long time. So we were also like playing in the church and, you know, really involved there. And someone was like, hey, do you know a band that's young that would want to play a benefit concert for free? And we ended up, somehow somebody was like, what if we all played together? So we
that
did.
Sounds like a plot from a Disney Channel show or something.
Literally, it
lots of people say
real.
that, you know.
Yeah, and they were like, honestly, they were like, you should meet with Disney. And we did all those like little meetings because we were like little kids. And I'm glad at the end of the day, like we've done stuff with Radio Disney. We love them. But, you know, I'm glad that we didn't end up doing the TV show thing for like about a million reasons. We all still love each other a lot. So that's that's good. But anyway, that was our first show. And ever since then, we were a band, and we're like, what should we call ourselves? And we were the Water Bottles at first, and then we were Interstate, and then we were Ready, Set, Go. I mean, we had names, but you know, I was 9. Like, I mean, I'm just like, oh my gosh, a water bottle. You know, I don't know, like stupid ways to come up with names. But yeah, so that was 16 years ago. I'm 25 now. So it's been a minute.
Wow. So what was the period between you guys forming a band and, you know, Cool Kids? There's like a little bit of gap there. Were you guys looking for a style? Were you guys making demos? Was your dad like doing sort of the Jackson family, like cracking the whip thing, or like what was going on there?
No whips were involved.
That first album, you were 15. Am I correct? That very first album.
15 when we made it, and then 16, you know, when it came out. But yeah, we were making demos, we were writing songs, we were street performing, we were doing all these different things, trying to figure out what we wanted to sound like. But at the same time, we were, you know, still doing a lot of covers, and trying to make them our own for sure. But we were a lot of different styles. I mean, our first show was like, there was a reggae cover, then there was Rage Against the Machine cover, there was Umbrella by Rihanna. I mean, there's like all these different things going on. So we were definitely experimenting, which is how you find your sound. And then the first album, like once we got signed, we were working with Mike Elizondo and Rob Cavallo. That's who signed us at Warner Brothers. And they're both amazing. If you look them up, their catalog is insane. The people they've worked with and albums they've done, because they're both producers. So they were really instrumental in that too, because we were just like writing a ton, experimenting with our sound. And I think one of the first songs that really helped us discover the sound, I might be wrong on this, it was a long time ago, but I think it was our song Let's Love, which is on the first album. We're like, oh, this feels really fun, and it has some like fun 80s feels that we really love and are drawn to. And it just kind of came naturally, and that's sort of what we, you know, went with. So Cool Kids was definitely in that batch of songs, but we just kept going back and forth on that one and weren't sure if we wanted to keep it, because we just kept rewriting the verses. It wasn't right. And then after a couple months, eventually it was. And I'm sure glad that it made it. I'm sure glad now, looking back, but it almost didn't make the album at all.
No,
that's what always happens. That's what always happens. Like the song that didn't make the album, like that story where Kurt Cobain didn't want to put "Smells Like Teen Spirit" on there because he felt like it was a Pixies ripoff. You know, like you never know how that stuff works. One thing's interesting. Go ahead, Demi.
Wow. Like about writing Cool Kids. I mean, where'd that come from? Like, what was that song inspired by?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of came, honestly, a lot of our songs, especially now, come from conversations of us just like being together, being family, and just chatting about stuff. But yeah, that one was really just honestly like us talking about how we wish that we were cool, and we wish that we could, you know, fit in with other people. And it's not like I was like totally picked on all the time at school, but everyone has experiences like that, and wanting to be in the popular group and, you know, trying to weasel your way into that, which at one point in high school, I like somehow almost ended up in a group, but it was like, they called themselves this, I forget, the something 7. And I'm pretty sure I was like really low on that list, but I just like wanted to be around these.
You were like the extra guy in Wu-Tang.
I was like 7.5.
Yeah.
But anyways, I mean, but we've all felt that way. And I've always, struggled with like, oh my gosh, I wish I could look like her. My hair was like her, and I have curly hair and freckles, and I'm really pale and things like that aren't like the most popular at all times.
I wonder where the something seven. I wonder what they're up to right now, man. They're probably wishing that you're fucking number one on that number seven. God damn it.
I mean, I tried to look some of them up. I'm like, what are they up to? But a lot of them are on private, or I can't find it. I'm like, dang. But
you gotta rub it in their faces. You gotta rub it in their faces.
If we have a high school reunion, it will be fun to see. I mean, I don't even know if I'll get invited. I didn't graduate from. We all just like left school early and just homeschooled once we got signed. So I don't even think I'd be invited to that, but I'd like to go. It'd be kind of fun, to just be like, oh my gosh, I don't know. I feel like I want to say they call it the Sexy Seven, but
they called it the Sexy Seven.
Is that what it was?
Sexy
Seven.
I
remember when you're like, I don't know. I'm like, oh, I know.
I'm not 100% sure. It was a while ago, but I'm like, it's also really embarrassing to say out loud. But man, I was like, I just want to be.
You want to be
Sexy Seven? Let's go.
Let's go. So, anyways,
it would be the Sexy Four. No, it would be the Fire Four. Let's go.
Fire Four. I like that. That feels like it could mean a lot of things. So I dig it.
A lot of things. It's open to interpretation.
Up to interpretation. It's less like sexy is like pretty much only one thing, but it's like the Fire Four. It could be like, we're cool and confident, but not completely obsessed with ourselves. I don't know, but either way, that was not the band. That's not in the band name running. We're already set. So
I like it. One thing that's interesting about you guys is that even early on, you guys have kind of alternated, gone back and forth between stuff that sounds kind of in that alternative rock area, but also stuff that's sort of in that kind of folky acoustic kind of area as well. Even like you look at your first two big hits, Cool Kids and Bright was almost like almost like not a country song, but it was kind of leaning in that direction. So is that kind of when you guys are planning out songs, you like, okay, this song needs to have a lot of like kind of a rock sound, but this one can be a little bit more back porch acoustic.
It's funny because I feel like for us, and I guess funny tangential story about Bright is we were really wanting to push that to country music radio. And we actually had a version of it made with like slide guitar and stuff.
Nice.
I've tried to find it. I can't. I think there's some banjo on it too.
Good.
It would probably be really fun to like find and maybe drop on accident. But I think for us, like there are certain things that are very core to who we are. And we grew up listening to a lot of like alternative music. I mean, my favorite band growing up was like the Smiths and the Cure. And I love the Sundays and Arcade Fire and Coldplay and stuff like that, which is very alternative. But I also feel like at our core, we are very like vocal driven and harmony driven, which obviously kind of can lean more like folksy, almost in like a Fleet Foxes way, or even just like full on country. And so I feel like because of those two things, it's created this kind of fusion of something that I feel is like kind of maybe a part of what makes Echosmith. And it is that like folk kind of songwriting, that harmony driven like vocal style with that like alternative influence, and obviously some pop too and all that. But we're people that like listen to a lot of stuff. I have a playlist of like new music I'm always adding to, and it's always quite full of like a very wide range of genres. And I feel like that.
I love that song you guys did with Mat Kearney. Like,
yeah, he's the best.
He was on our show a while back. Hilarious guy, like low key hilarious.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think that we wrote with him recently in Nashville, and we've obviously met and like hung before, especially when we're making "Tell You Love Her" together. And anyway, it's just so fun. I feel like we all were just laughing so much, and it just was more of a hang than anything. And that's honestly like the best. You want to have that feeling when you're writing a song,
Yeah.
So what's the truth about siblings in a band? I mean, you have like Jackson 5, you have you guys. Tell us the real deal. Do you guys like, what's like a fight with you guys like? And I mean, does it ever get, you know what I mean? How do you kind of separate?
Have you seen Anchorman? You know how they do those big fights? That's how we do it.
Yeah, with like chain and mace and baseball bat. Yeah.
That's for the whip. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, honestly, I mean, we do, of course, like we don't agree on everything. And there are times where it's like, someone does something that was inconsiderate or, didn't mean to say something that way, but it actually hurt someone's feelings. So, when you spend time, like that much time with someone, I mean, you're going to have some sort of disagreement. So for us, I think it actually helps us that we're siblings, because I can't imagine doing this with like just random dudes that I'm like friends with, but I don't know, we can just be so honest with each other. That is something, and I think we've all learned good tools along the way of, we haven't always been that like amazing at communication, but now I think that if something bothers one of us, we're able to just be like, hey, I'm noticing this and it's kind of bugging me, or like, hey, you said that and can you not make fun of that? Because we tease each other a lot. So that's like a fine line where it's like, there's the fun sibling teasing, and then sometimes it's like, okay, you've said this joke too many times and it actually like bugs me. Can you not say that? And we can be that honest with each other.
I like a little
because we're
smirk
family.
on Noah's face. It feels like he's like guilty of that.
He is like the most guilty of making jokes that are like either going to be so funny or you're like, oh my gosh, seriously, why are you doing that? So he's a funny guy.
My go-to is when we have like a 4 a.m. wake up call.
Oh my god!
And then I wake up with a lot of energy. I don't drink coffee. I'm just ready to go immediately. Everyone else is just kind of grumpy.
That's no fair.
Angry.
It's no fair.
It's a good time. It's a good way to live. It's good. But we'll wake up and everyone's like groggy and upset, and I'll just make a lot of jokes. And that's often when I'm told.
And he's really loud. Yeah, he's like super bubbly, and I'm like, I'm glad you feel great, but none of us are on that level yet. So you need to like tone it down just a little bit.
You sound like someone's grandpa that gets up early to like, hey kids, ready for pancakes?
That's me.
Yeah. And I'm like, yes, but quiet pancakes.
Quiet pancakes.
Let's talk about the musical aspect of the sibling thing. There's that whole thing I learned from the Bee Gees documentary about like there's that special sibling voice, connection that only siblings can have, that beautiful this certain type of harmony. Do you guys believe in that?
I'd say, I think at the end of the day, like we grew up singing together. I learned to sing harmonies to Sydney's voice, so I feel like in a way, like obviously I can sing harmonies to other people, but like the way I do it, probably it sits most naturally with Sydney. And I think at the end of the day, like there's probably a nature and a nurture to it. I do think there's probably something in our blood, that makes us united in a sense. Because I do believe in that, there's something beautiful that comes from family relation. But I think also just that experience of years and years of like playing, singing in a million different contexts together, writing and singing harmonies in that moment. We've sung a lot together. It's been a big part of our life. And so we do just know how to do it. And I think there's nature and nurture to that for sure.
Yeah. And they also say like, I don't know if this is like like an actual scientific fact. So if it's not, disregard, I guess. But I've heard, like a sibling is as related as you can get, right? Where it's like, you're really related to your parents, but like, aren't you like the most, like that's as close as you can get gene wise. And I just think that, there's gotta be something there where, especially if you're able to sing, and that's like one of the only things that we can do. I think it was very obvious that like, oh, we're supposed to do music. Because that was like our main thing, but it just has been so cool to sing over the years. And even having our oldest brother, Jamie, who's our original guitar player, and now he's involved on the production side with us. Like, it's so fun to be doing the group vocals together, and we're all just like laughing in between. And there's just that relationship there that feels really special. But the end result also, feels really special. It feels way different than like having some random person in the room singing with us, which can add a cool flavor, but it just feels right when we're all singing together. And that's something that I wouldn't trade for the world.
I saw this interview where you were like, and then, my dad came up and came and played piano for us on stage. Like, you guys seem to like just kind of all be bonded by this music thing. And that's kind of cool and rare. It is rare.
Yeah.
Like, what other family projects are there? I can think of, what is that? Allie and AJ.
Yeah. They're sisters. And there's the Jonas Brothers, and they do music with at least most of the siblings.
That's where the Anchorman style battles come from, is you got the sibling groups fighting each other like in the ravine.
That would make a good video.
We should do a family tour. That would actually be really cool to like think of cool family bands that are playing music together still. And do something together. That would be fun.
Get what's left of the Partridge Family, like if there's any of those guys still around.
I know. I don't even know.
Yeah.
I haven't looked too deep into this, but do you guys maybe in the future ever think about kind of doing your own maybe side projects? I'm not sure if you guys already have this going on though.
No, we I mean,
Trying
one
to
of the things
break
that
up the
we
band right now.
No.
started, you heard it here first. It was all Demi's fault. No, I'm just kidding. No, but we actually, so we've only ever done you know, Echosmith stuff and put that out. But you know, we've talked about it of like, you know, if we have creative, I don't know, things that because we're just creative people, and if there ever comes a time that it feels right to do that, I could totally see that happening. But it would always, at least in my head, you know, because people have always been like, are you ever going to do solo music or your side project or whatever? And I'm totally open to that. But at the end of the day, my main priority is Echosmith and doing music as a family, because I love just being together and making music together just feels really great. So that's always going to be like my first priority, but never say never. I think that in the future, like Noah's also gotten really great at production, and he's also producing our new music. So he's going to, you know, probably work with really awesome artists in the future too. And maybe he wants to do side project, or Graham wants to, and I can definitely see myself doing it, but in like a different, you know, it'd have to be like kind of probably a different genre or something. But yeah, I mean, we're all creative. So I think one day that would be cool, but always coming back to the Echosmith roots will always be a big part of, you know, what we do and something that we want to do. So yeah, you never know. We're all making music all the time. So you never know.
Yeah, no, on what Sydney was referring to, how much have you got in the production? Do you have a desire to do other people's music?
Yeah. I mean, I've been, you know, producing stuff for a while now, and I did some production on our last record, and this one I've taken on much more of that like duty, which has been a total blast. And I have a studio, like I converted my garage here at my house in LA, and I'm working out a lot there. And, you know, there are some people that I'm working with now. I mean, I think our big priority has been like, let's get this record made. And there's other things I'm working on the side and stuff too. But like, I'm really passionate about kind of like how holistic we get to be with like an artist project. You know, it's not just like making the music. It really is like doing these interviews. It's creating a brand and a message and things like that. And I'm really passionate about that. So while like I always want to be doing that stuff on the side, like I really love like all this stuff. It's really, it's a ton of fun. It's fun getting to meet people and tour and all that. And I don't want to trade that away for, I don't know, just being home all the time.
It must be kind of a weird, like kind of a, you know, kind of a weird situation to be in, that on one hand, you guys have been a band for so long, but on the other hand, you're still in your 20s. It must be kind of a weird, like kind of thing to weird. And I mentioned the Bee Gees earlier, and the Bee Gees kind of had two stages of their career. They had the stage of their career when they were like real young teenagers, early 20s. And then they had the Saturday Night Fever stage when they were in their 20s and 30s. Yeah. So do you kind of feel like this is like when you guys started really pushing the new music in like 2018, 19, when you started releasing singles again, did that feel like a whole new version of the band?
I think in a lot of ways it almost always does. You know, every time we're putting out new music, I think there's always like this feeling and question in our hearts, honestly, we're like, are we old now? And I don't know if I don't even know what that means. And at the end of the day, I feel like we are currently in an industry that's much more accepting of like artists of every age and every background. And I think that's really important. And I think like, regardless of all that, like we're just trying to make music that we're really passionate about and that we really care about. And I think because of that, we always are going to try to reset in certain ways, because at the end of the day, like we've definitely had like the questioning of like, why are we doing this? How do we do this? Especially through COVID and all that, like that really shook up our lives. You know, that's a major part of our life that was suddenly shut down completely. And so we had to kind of go back to like the roots and be like, okay, what are we wanting to do? What do we desire to do? What do we care about doing? And I'm really thankful that we're here, and that all those questions, all those conversations have led us to this moment with the music that we have and the music that we're really passionate about.
Yeah. And I think honestly, to answer even what you just asked, like, I think we feel more that way now than we did even in 2018 when we were first like putting out the first songs since our first album. So now, you know, now post-COVID, even us just like gaining creative control and like taking the reins of our own lives and our own career for the first time, it's been really special. And this feels, I mean, I feel kind of like a completely different person than I did even in 2018, and especially who I was in 2013, 2014 when we first put out music. So it feels like we're kind of entering this new stage of life. I just turned 25. I just rented a car the other day and they didn't ask for like extra insurance. It was so weird. I was like, oh my gosh, I really am 25, which I know sounds stupid, but I'm like, okay, and that is a lot different than being 16. And of course it's still super young and we still have like, so many fun things ahead just with doing life. But it feels almost like we've, I don't know, had like this nice renewal since even putting out our last album. So we're just super excited for what's to come because it feels more natural than ever. And it feels like this is the kind of music, we've always wanted to make. And we finally just lived enough life and had enough experience with just like experimenting with stuff that it's brought us here. But I think this is where like it's truly a new chapter, and this is where that chapter begins. And it feels better than ever. And it feels like it's something that we really feel compelled to do, because we could have easily during COVID been like, yeah, we'll like keep doing it. But like, what if I want to do something else? I mean, like everyone was readdressing everything during COVID.
Did COVID spark a creativity in you guys? Because I feel like some people, they didn't want to do anything. And some people were like making their masterpieces in their bedroom,
I think it was kind of both. I think at the beginning we had this kind of false hope. It turned out that like, okay, this is going to end. I remember in like March, we had a couple shows booked in May, and I was telling my wife on a walk, I'm like, there's no way that those shows in May are going to get canceled. And of course they were canceled. And so I think there's a little bit of humbling and like, okay, we can't control this. We can't control the world. We can't even honestly control like the path of our career. But I think that kind of led to the point, and those questions again and all that led to that point of like, okay, now let's like really dive in. And we kind of simplified how we did it. I think for a long time we were told, and we kind of felt like, oh, we need to depend on other people to like do what we do. But I think we kind of got to the point where like, oh wait, like our first record wasn't really that, a lot of those songs are just like our family making music. And so we kind of went back to those basics, and all of a sudden, like, I do feel like we've been writing songs that, at least to us, like feel like the most important songs we've ever written. Hang Around means a lot to us for like the joy that it exudes to me and all that. And I think we have songs that we've also written that like kind of capture a really wide range of like emotions and experiences that we've had and that we've gone to share together as a family, and that we'll, get to share with the world too, which is definitely a cool gift.
Yeah.
I just had this epiphany about 2020 where I realized that, like the internet was always a talk about like, okay, now it's there's a lot more on the artists about like their own personal brand and how they are how they make themselves out to be a brand themselves outside from like, a label pushing it or, just putting out an album.
Yeah.
And it even got crazier with 2020. So how do you guys feel about this kind of like having to also be like internet, people aside from, along with being the artist that you are, because you guys are two artists who've been doing this forever.
Yeah. And I mean, there's the pressure to be a content creator. I mean, it's a lot. And I think I finally now I'm in a phase of enjoying that side of it, because for a long time I was a bit resentful towards it, because I was like, okay, I have to do this. I should post. I should, oh yeah, I haven't posted on, because we all have like personal Instagrams and then the band Instagram, and that's only one platform, and we have like Twitter, and now YouTube, you're able to like do normal posts too that aren't just videos, but also there's YouTube Shorts and TikTok, and then you should also do stories on all of them, and blah blah blah. Like there's all the things, and I was so overwhelmed by it that I was like, I go through phases of like, okay, I'm gonna be really productive and do all the things, and I'd be really burnt out. And I was also just doing it because I felt like I had to. So now I feel like in the past like 6 months or so, I finally have found a good rhythm of like, I don't want to force anything. So if there's a day where I just truly am not feeling it and don't really have, it's something that I have to post or even want to, then I'm like, it's okay if I don't post every single day, but at the end of the day, we just want to present the most authentic versions of ourselves, and not forcing it is doing that, So I think that's just made it more fun. And even with TikTok, I was very hesitant to really get on there because I was kind of intimidated and I didn't know where we fit in that, because I'm not a dancer and I'm not, there's people who cook on it. I mean, people do all sorts of things. So I was like, I don't know. I definitely couldn't do the
Yeah,
dances
if you can
unless
cook or dance, you've got it made.
you're
You do
done.
both.
You're good.
If you can cook
Cooking
and
while
dance
dancing
at the same time.
and whisper things with ASMR, you know, but
Yeah.
like I didn't know where our place was, but then I just kind of had this, after talking to our team, I'm like, let's just do what feels authentic to us. And that's usually music stuff. And sometimes we hop on a trend if it feels, but we want to make it our own. And I don't want to do it just for the sake of like, okay, I posted this many TikToks today. But sometimes like I'll do 3 or 4 because it made sense to do it. And I have fun doing it because I don't want to do it unless I want to do it, if that makes sense. So I think having that new perspective has taken some of the pressure off. And I still feel that sometimes because we have a team that helps with social media, but at the end of the day, we wanted to have control of it 99%.
Yeah.
Totally. And you want to be authentic. So we really tried to retain as much like control of it as we could. And there's still times we delegate, but generally I want to be the one to like execute all the posts when a song comes out and do the like fun little things. But it's a lot. So, I mean, I go through phases, but I think just making sure we're being authentic, which also means not doing it if you don't have anything to say, that's okay too. And giving yourself grace there has been helpful, but it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah. So before we let you go, guys, we want to do it's not a goofy podcast interview without some kind of rapid fire question game that we have to do.
I love it.
Okay.
I love those so much.
This is going to be, we're going to test like which sibling. Okay. So you got to name the sibling.
Okay.
Okay. So first one, which sibling gave your parents the most problems?
Sydney or Jamie?
Probably me or Jamie. Jamie's our oldest.
Called you on set, Sydney.
Which sibling is most organized?
Graham,
for sure.
Yeah, I guess Graham's not here to defend himself. So
when he gets to a hotel, he puts everything on the thing, like very, his headphones here, his charger here. Like he's so organized and he packs light. He's a great travel buddy.
Yeah, it's good to have one like that. Good to have one.
Yeah,
like that.
I'm not.
There's only one.
Most likely to win on Jeopardy.
Noah. He's a fun fact guy. Fun fact guy.
Fun facts over here. And who's the pickiest eater?
Actually,
we're all pretty open.
None of us are that picky. Like we will eat almost anything. We'll try anything once.
I expected like an instant, like so-and-so, like, because everyone has
Growing
that one
up,
kid
I
in their
was
family
picky.
who won't eat anything.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I was that way. And then when I was like 16, we started traveling. I'm like, I was eating I used to hate cheese. I still hate ketchup because ketchup is just.
It's funny because you guys grew up in LA, so it wasn't like you were only exposed to like certain foods. You guys had everything at your disposal.
And that's definitely a gift for sure.
Yeah, we've like, in certain places, like this is our delicacy and we will almost always try that. I haven't tried balut. I think that's what it's called in the Philippines, where it's like kind of a developed egg. I won't do that, but besides that, I'll try with anything.
Yeah, international food is a different deal.
I'll try it all. Come on.
Yeah.
And so kind of going off of that, who's the best cook?
Noah. Oh, Jamie's also a really good cook. But I'm always calling
Sydney,
Noah.
You immediately was like anyone but me. Anyone but me.
Well, honestly, I am a good cook, but I'm just not like they're very creative with their cooking. Where Noah's like, I'm gonna make you a pasta and I'm gonna make homemade sauce and I'm gonna even do homemade pasta. Like all this stuff, he's like making his own dough, and I just don't necessarily have the patience for that. I do cook good stuff. I'll own up to that. I've gotten better in the past couple of years, but I'm not.
Graham's the worst.
The producer in him, like.
Yeah, he wants to start from the beginning.
Whipping things up.
Whipping things up. And I'm like, hey, how do I make this thing again? But I make good stuff. It's just like they're so creative that they take the cake. So I just
we're all good cooks except for Graham. Graham stinks at cooking.
Well, he has 3 of us to cook for him. So
yeah, it works out.
Yeah, he doesn't need to be good. He doesn't need to be good. Which sibling is the most stubborn?
Noah.
Oh, man.
Maybe.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I would say I'm not. If you ask my wife, my parents, my siblings, anyone in my world, I feel like they'd probably say yes.
Yeah, Noah's very easygoing until he's not.
Until you're wrong. Until you say something that's wrong and he has to correct it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's an Enneagram 9, if you know what that is. But he's very like peacemaker, sweet guy. But then when he like doesn't want to do something, it's done. It's done.
Oh. Last one. which sibling is most likely to survive in the wilderness? Dropped in on a helicopter with a knife and a lighter and a Zippo. Who does the best?
Actually, Sydney, you camp the most.
I do.
You
actually.
probably would do the best. I hate camping. I shower
Thank
twice a day. I can't do that.
No one's trying to dry out his skin. I don't know what's wrong with him. But anyway, I probably have camped the most, but I get like, I go to REI and I get I one time went and got the display. I was like, I want that tent, that air mattress. I'm not sleeping on the ground. So if I only had a lighter and whatever else you just said, I mean, I might be able to make it work. I would just feel, I don't know. I got a lot of hair and stuff. So if I got some hair ties and sunscreen, I'm really like sensitive in that way too, where I get sunburned 10 minutes outside.
Yeah.
So I would need a little more supplies, but I might be able to be the one.
So we'd all die. I think that's the end game.
Honestly, just the sunburn thing alone, like I would get
done.
Yeah.
I'd be over. That's all we do is burn.
I'm with you on the sunburn thing. Yeah, I'd be toasted.
Yeah. That's great. I love
all right,
these
do you
questions.
got anything else? Anything else for Noah and Sydney?
I just imagine you guys being on what is that one show?
Naked and Afraid.
Naked and Afraid. I'm sorry, that's all I was thinking about just now.
That's what Demi was like.
Yeah.
He was like, yeah.
I was so quiet. I was just like, Matt. Anyway.
That sounds
I will not
terrifying.
join that show. That's one show they actually asked us at one point to be on, what is it, Fear Factor? And I was like, heck, no.
When they ate all the insects.
Yeah.
Oh, I just got the
Who would
chills.
win that version? Eating all the insects. Who would win that one?
100%. I would win that. I've eaten crickets. I've eaten ants. I've eaten.
I don't think
ants
I've
are
done
good
like the
with the protein.
chocolate covered crickets or the chocolate covered ants or anything.
I've
like
had
that.
a cricket taco. I felt kind of sick though, so I haven't done it again.
Oh.
Yeah. Well,
yeah. It was in New York actually.
you just need to have the right kind of cricket taco.
That's it.
The right toppings.
It's a
Yeah,
good
that's what my
protein.
mom always says when I don't like food. She's like, "We just need to have someone prepare it well for you."
I'm with your mom.
Anything.
I am on
Yeah,
your mom's
and
side.
crickets. Noah would win. That's for sure. And he would find a good way to cook it too.
All right. So before we let you go, last thing, what do you guys have coming up the rest of the summer? We got a few weeks left of August. You doing shows? You releasing a new single? What's going on?
Yes, all the things. So we actually have a lot of fun things coming that, we can't talk about yet. But we do have more new music coming before tour starts, which means that we'll play a ton of new music on the tour. We're also going to play some unreleased songs on the tour because we are working on a whole body of work and have a lot of songs that we're excited to play. So we're like, why not give people on tour a first listen to these songs and like experiment there? So there will be a lot of new songs that will be out already, but then playing unreleased songs, having fun on tour, which is starting in October, I think. And we have some like random shows before that too, but we're just planning the show and making it as intentional as possible to just make the most out of it since it's been 2.5 years since we've toured. So we're just like so excited to even make the VIP experience that we're doing beforehand, making that really special too, and not just your standard, hey, let's take a pic at the step and repeat and go. But we want to make everything a really special experience. So we're doing a lot of planning to get there too. So lots of shows and more new music. And I think people will be really excited to hear the new songs coming out. So yeah, we've never been this excited, which is just like such a great feeling going into something. So it's going to be a great rest of the year. I'm excited.
I'm excited for you. Just that enthusiasm that came through just now.
Yeah,
I
feel like so like I'm like my mouth hurts from smiling, but I do genuinely feel that way. So yeah, we're super stoked. But if you guys want to come to the show, let us know. Just hit up whoever and
your people.
Have your people talk to my people, and we'll
arrange it. Yeah.
No, that'd be awesome. But yeah, thank you guys so much for having us. This was so fun. Like I said,
thanks for being here.
Podcasts are the best.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys, that's Echosmith. New singles, new shows, everything's coming out. Check them out. Thanks, guys.
Thank
you.
All right. That was Echosmith.
They're so cool.
They're so cool. They're so much fun. Thank you to Sydney and Noah. And thank you for listening to It's Real with Jordan and Demi. As always, go to popdust.com for past episodes, latest pop culture news. A lot of stuff happened on popdust.com these days. A lot of new articles, movie reviews. We got stuff out. A lot of things going on popdust.com right now. And of course, when you got some spare time, listen to Demi Ramos music. Go to Spotify, stream the Demi Ramos singles.
Let's go.
Become a fan. Yeah. All right. We'll see you next time, guys. Thanks a lot for listening.